Yep. All right. Let's see where we at. Mm, Welcome to another edition of another series going live. Yeah, give me 1 second. Mm, mm, mhm, mhm. 1 second. So yeah. So we're going live again. I'm about to turn this down. I just wanted to bring it in. Thank y'all for joining this live. Yo, I'm gonna be really hitting on some key points tonight because I need to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? And thank y'all for joining me. All the people that's tuning into this right now and who will listen later. I know there will be listeners who will tune in later. Usually when I get started, people come in late, and then when I am in the middle, people come in late, and then when I jump, toward the end, people start to really flood in, and that's when I'm really really done with the message. So, but really, I put this here just so you know. I got the YouTube channel Nation of God. You can go on YouTube and follow Nation of God. This will be going up on Nation of God YouTube channel. And this will also, be on Facebook later for you to get later on anyway. But for those of you who like to listen to things later, if you don't want to stay, cool. If you want to leave, you want to go and listen to it later on the YouTube channel, then you can do that. Or you can listen to it right here on Facebook later on. That'll be another thing you can do. Um, but I wanted to really just get into this conversation or this matter this matter about waging war with yourself. And you have to kill the inner skeptic to a born again manifester. You have to kill that inner skeptic to a born again manifester. And I really want to touch on the details of all of this and killing that inner skeptic, right? So let's start with some few things. Those of you who like supporting me, and those of you who want to continue to see me do this, and those of you who like to just get more of me giving my time to this, that's okay. You can do that. You can also support me by I'm not the type of person that's gonna ask you for money. But I mean, if you're willing and you really like what I do and you really like to just support me in some way, the best way I always tell people to support me is not PayPal, Cash App. Go get the doctrines that I got. Go get the doctrines. If you really want to support me, then go get the doctrines. Go and buy my what we call books, but I call doctrines. So you can just find those in my highlight settings, and you can um just go to simple Google search of my name when you're looking for something to read, and you'll find them. Okay. So that's one. That's the best way to support me. You don't have to give me money. I don't need your money per se. I need you to, and want you to get the doctrines. So do that. Support me by listening and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Support that way. If you feel the need to want to give out of your heart, if you feel the need to want to donate money, I'm not gonna deprive you of that. That's why we're here today, talking about killing that inner skeptic. To be a born again manifester. So, we have to believe that people are willing to do things like that. People are willing to give to us. People are willing to donate. People are willing to feed into us, in order so that people like me, can continue to do what I'm doing. And so sometimes, I tend not to put the information out there because of the skeptic inside. The skeptic says that people don't do that. People don't support, people like me. People don't support a message like mine. People don't support, the work that I do. People don't support that. And that's the inner skeptic we got to kill. We're going to talk about that. But for those of you who want to donate, go to Lord Obeying, LordObeng, Cash App. Okay, that's if you want to do it that way. Again, the skeptic in me says I don't trust or believe that you would be willing to give money, so go get my doctrines. But the manifestor in me says you cannot be afraid to be you cannot be afraid to do away with that skeptic. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's why we're here today. A lot of you right now getting into this, a lot of people, I don't want to point the finger at you listening, but a lot of people have a lot of struggle with the manifesting part of spiritual growth and development, and they have a lot of struggle and problems with seeing things magically appear in their presence in their life, magically seeing things appear. But the thing is not magic, okay? It's just not magic. But a lot of people have a problem with believing that they could just speak something and it just happens like that. I'll tell you something, man. I could give you story after story after story. How many times down the years, down the road, in the years past, how many times I've said that I wanted to do something. I either wrote it down or I either thought about it and took it seriously and acted upon it, but I didn't go through with it all the way. I didn't finish it out. I didn't complete it, but it was something I wanted to do. Do you understand that even though I let that go, even though I let that thing die, it really didn't die. Even though I let it die, it really didn't die. Even though I let it go, it really wasn't. It didn't go anywhere. And I see it now. Always like I'm starting to see things that I talked about doing years ago, 4 years ago. Things that I talked about doing, you know, not that long ago, but here it is, man, and I've let them things go, but here I am. And I'm not manifesting them as if I'm trying to speak on them now, seeing them manifesting. They are manifesting because the energy and because of the action that I put behind it when I first started it or believed it. And even and I want you to understand that even your thoughts are action. Even your thoughts are action. Your thought. That's why in the Bible it says that the thought of committing if you think about committing adultery, you've already committed adultery because it's an act. You understand what I'm saying? The thought is an act in it of itself, and so we have to understand that even our thoughts are actions. Our thought takes action form in our minds, and then we play it out in the reality. That's called manifesting your thoughts. So now a lot of skeptical people have a problem with believing in this power of manifesting. But the thing is, what you have to do is you have to go, you really have to go to war with yourself. You have to wage war on yourself. You have to say, no longer will I believe. Now, it's going to be hard because to wage war with yourself is if you don't get up and do it every single day, if you don't get up and remind yourself consciously to kill that skeptical self, if you don't get up every single day and remind yourself to kill that skeptical self, then you will continue to be fighting the battle with yourself into seeing things manifest for you in the real way. In the real way, meaning really seeing it play out in your life. Now, some people say, "Oh, I'm conscious and I can manifest this and I can manifest that." But the thing is, I could tell truly who people are. You know what I'm saying? I could tell truly who people are because I could just look at and see if they don't do the work. You see, your thoughts may be one thing, and you could say you think consciously. A lot of people say they conscious because they think it. You know what I'm saying? But remember, your thought is an action as well, and so therefore you can think it, but it really doesn't. But you're going to be warring with yourself. You're going to be waging war with yourself if you don't take an action behind the thought. But the thought is an action in and of itself, because sometimes a lot of people think that they are doing a thing or they getting a thing done, and you can will it through thought. You can will it through thought, and it will play out in your life. It will manifest. But this type of manifestation takes years to happen. Then when you just willing it with thought, when you're willing it just based off pure thought, that takes a lifetime to manifest. And most likely it isn't because you manifest it. It's simply because you happen to be, listen to me, it's simply because you happen to be, listen to me, it's simply because you have happened to be in the vibration with someone who's on that, already taking action in that vibration. And so that being manifests in your life. But then that being that manifested in your life, that you willed out of your own thought, that being who manifested in your life happened to be in the same vibration, the frequency with you. That being showed up because that being may be taking the action. Now watch this. Now once that being realize who you are, that being is going to realize you're a toxic person, because you think but you don't act. You think but you don't act. And they say act before you, they say think before you act. Right. Think before you act, but you must act though. And if you don't act, then you're not getting anywhere in life. Now, a lot of people think conscious and they say I'm conscious and I'm conscious and I'm aware of myself, I'm aware of who I am. But people don't put in the actual work behind the conscious reality or the conscious thinking. A lot of people don't put in the work for the conscious thinking that they have. So you have to really go to work. I don't care if you go to school to get a degree. I don't care if if you see yourself being a doctor, you say I see myself being a doctor, then you must take action on that because you see yourself in your mind being a doctor. So you take action on that. You wage war with yourself every day. You say, I gotta get up every day. I gotta go to this school. I gotta study and do the homework. I gotta turn in the paperwork. I gotta write the essay, the papers. I gotta do these exams. I gotta take the test. I gotta do these things. That's a waging war with yourself every single day. You're waging war with yourself every single day. And you know what else? So what happened is you are killing the inner skeptic to a born again manifester. Now, you're killing the inner skeptic. You're saying that I know I can be this. I know I can be a doctor. I know I can be this. And so you kill that inner skeptic inside you that says, no, you really can't. That's not who you are, and that's not what you are, and that's not what you're gonna become. You're gonna become this. Now, see, you got to kill that inner skeptic, and people that's going to school get degrees and stuff like that. They wake up every single day killing that inner skeptic. You understand what I'm saying? And because they have to tell themselves that they need this degree or they want this degree or they gotta have that degree. They have to remind themselves, tell themselves, constantly fight and constantly and just get up every single day and put themselves through the rigorous grind of going to get that degree. You understand what I'm saying? So people have to wage war with themselves. You have to wage war with the self. You got to go to work every day. You have to wage war on yourself every single day in order to get the work done. In order to get the work done, you got to wage war. So you got to get up and you got to get on your knees or sit down and pray or sit down and meditate or get in the mirror and say an affirmation or journal and write your thoughts out. But somehow you got to get to a space where you write and you speak and you think and you communicate with the self, with the higher self, because there is a being that's inside that knows. Like I said today, I wrote a proverb, and in that proverb, I said about finding commonality. You understand, with people, places, and things. You got to find commonality with people, places, and things. Because I said that it doesn't take, because when you are God, you are omniscient, and when you are omniscient, you are God. It doesn't take a being to know a thing to know a thing. It don't take you to know a thing to know a thing. Let me say this, and let me break that down. When you communicate through prayer, meditation, affirmation, journaling, sitting down and doing whatever you got to do to get with that self, when you are reaching and climbing to the levels of your most higher self, that intellectual being, that divine God, that one that leads you, okay, on your journey, on your path, on the righteous path, when you are sitting down, communicating with that higher self being, guess what? You don't need to feel the need to go to school in order to know that you can be a doctor, in order to know that you can be a holistic practitioner, or in order to know that you can be a physician or whatever it is, right? When you know what you know, when you know what it doesn't take to know a thing to know a thing. When you tap into that higher self being, when you tap into, you know, that higher self, what you end up doing is you end up killing off the lower self. You end up killing off the skeptic, the one who doesn't believe in something greater within themselves. You get what I'm saying? One who doesn't believe that there's something, in something greater within themselves. So the skeptic comes alive, and the higher self dies, and the highly intelligent intellectual being within dies, because you kill it with skepticism, you kill it with doubt, and you kill it with thinking, overthinking, and worrisome. You kill it with non-belief, but more so you just kill it with the skepticism. You just can't see these things unfolding for your own self, and you can't see these things matching up to who you know you to be. That's why I say it doesn't take one to know a thing to know a thing. When you tap into the higher self, when you get where you need to be, when you are climbing up that spiritual, that proverbial spiritual ladder, in order to reach the pinnacle of spiritual enlightenment, which we call nirvana, and that is to be fully knowledgeable of oneself. You understand? When you reach nirvana, see, I know I've reached nirvana, spiritual enlightenment. You understand what I'm saying? Because I do the work behind, like, I do the work. If you watch me, you know me, you study me, you learn me, you follow on social media, you see me in person, then you know I put the work in. You know that I do the rigorous spiritual work that it takes to really climb and stay at the top of and spiritual enlightenment. And why is that important? Because I have to wage war with my skeptical self. I have to wage war with my Lord. I have to wage war with the skeptic inside of me, not believing that I am who I know I am. And so therefore I will not settle. I will not settle for something lower than what I know I am. It doesn't take one to know a thing to know a thing. I don't need to go to get I don't need to go and get a minister's license. I'm sorry, I have to speak this, but I was going to school to get a minister's license. And the thing is, I don't need to get a minister's license to know that I am worthy of the call, and worthy to speak that of a minister, and really truly perceive that of a minister. You understand? Because I don't even pigeonhole myself to a title or a box like that. You understand what I'm saying? And so I am the greatest version of who I am. That's why I speak about the I am. I am the greatest version of who I am. I am the greatest version of who I am. Right now, talking to you, because I killed the skeptic inside. And so I would not settle for anything lower. I would not settle for the skeptic believer. I would not settle to become the skeptic believer inside of me, because the skeptic believer says that I am not the greatest version of myself, and therefore I need to go get a degree or a license, or something to feel that I have to go get these pieces of paperwork in order to know that I know this thing. But it doesn't take one to know a thing to know a thing. It doesn't take me to know what I know to go and get something. I don't need to know those things. I don't need to know how to minister in order to know how to minister. I don't need to know how to go and speak in order to know how to go and speak. I don't need to know a thing to know a thing. You understand what I'm saying? And so what I learn, what I get, what I gather, what I grab from my skeptic self, from my skeptic self, is the fact that I have to wage war with this being every single day. I have to get up and I have to go and I have to put the work in order to get out the greatest version of myself. And every time I put the work in, I elevate that much more higher within me. I elevate that much more higher, and that's why I talked about in the proverb I posted today. Um, find finding commonality with people, places, and things. We have to find commonality with people, places, and things, and that commonality will lead me to a person, a place, or a thing where I don't have to know a person to know a person. You understand? I don't have to know you to know you. I'll say this. I'll say this, and I'll use this example. You know, if I've talked about marrying somebody when I was a child, when I was 5 years old, if I talked about if I envisioned my dream wife, like this is who she is, this is what she looked like, and at 5 years old, I fall in love with the idea and with the vision and with the image of what my wife looks like, right? And then I finally meet my wife 20 years later, 30 years later, when I'm in my 20s or whatever, right? 30s, right? Then I meet my wife that much more, later. But 5 years old, I had the vision, I had the image, and I had the idea of what my wife looked like, what she was, who she was, how I was going to love her, how I was going to have a family with her. I've had an idea of who this woman was, right? So ever since 5 years old, I've been in love with the ideal of that woman, with the vision of that woman, with the image of that woman. All it took for me when I got to my 20s and 30s was to see the physical aspect of that woman. So the question is, do I fall in love with the woman? Did I fall in love with the woman at 5 years old? Or did I fall in, or do I hold back my love from her when I see her at 30? Let me say that again. You understand? So if I find my woman after having this vision for 15 years of who she was, who she is, what she looked like, after 15 years of holding this image of her, being in love with the vision of this woman, the image of this woman, the ideal of this woman, then I'm 30 years old, 31, 32, whatever age I am, but now I'm in my 20s and 30s, and then I finally meet her. And then I wait 2 years to tell her I love her. Wait a minute, hold on. I must wait 2 years to tell this woman I love her. No, if I find her and I meet the woman that I've met all my life, that I've known, for 15, 20 plus years in my spirit, I'm not waiting 2 years. And when I meet her at 30, I'm not waiting 2 years to tell her I love her. I'm gonna tell her I love her right then and there because I loved her when I was 5 years old. All I was waiting on was the physical aspect of the woman to show up. See, you understand what I'm saying? And so I didn't have to wait to meet my woman and then court her for 2 years in order to say I love you. No, I loved her 15 years ago, 20 years ago. The idea of her, right? So now I'm in love with her off love at first sight, truthfully, but it's really not love at first sight. It's love, 15 years ago, And so here I am in love with her 15 years from when I drew up a vision of her in my mind and the ideal of her and I felt her then. You understand what I'm saying? And so therefore I love the woman already, right? And so now we have to remember to continue to kill the skeptic. So the skeptic says, I don't know you, but it doesn't take one to know a thing, right? It doesn't take one to know a thing. So you have to you have to find a commonality with people, places, and things. And the commonality with that woman is when I meet her, we have all these spiritual things together aligned and in the same, we have all these spiritual things perfectly aligned with each other. But why is that? Well, we've had commonality years ago, 15 years ago. We had commonality, and then we meet each other and we say, and we start naming off all these things we got in common. Oh my God, we got this in common. We got that in common. We got that in common. We got this in common. You see what I'm saying? See, we had these things in common spiritually 15, 20 years ago. Now we're just meeting each other and all of a sudden all the hairs on the back of your neck start standing up and you start to feel all these goosebumps on your arm, and you get the shivers, and you get all this excitement from the person that you're meeting, because you're really meeting the woman in the flesh that you had visions of 15 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, oh my God, a dream come true. But it is a dream come true, right? And so, but the skeptic says, I don't know you. I don't know you. And the skeptic says, I don't know you, number one. Number two, I'm not going to tell you I love you. I don't know you like that, right? I don't know you like that. I don't know you. I only, I've just met you. Why would I tell you I love you? Well, when you meet that one that you're supposed to be married to, or and I say married in a spiritual way, not a legal document way, but hold on. Mm. When you meet that one, you understand, then you have no doubt. There is no there is no you're not there is no skepticism at all in that. Once you meet that one, there's no more skepticism involved now. You understand? So you kill the skeptic when it comes to love and meeting your mate, your soulmate, your other, I call it. You kill the skeptic then, but when it comes to being the greatest form and the greatest version of yourself, and when it comes to being that doctor you want to be, or being that that owning that beauty salon that you want to own, and when it comes to just whatever it is that you were put here to do, your purpose, your calling in life, whatever it is you were brought here to do, when you meet when you meet when you meet that skeptic inside, that skeptic gonna tell you, nah, I can't do that, that's not for me. Or the skeptic will watch this. The skeptic, here's the thing I want you to understand too about the skeptic. The skeptic has the most silent voices. You understand? The skeptic has the most silent voices, and it comes in the form of, watch this, procrastination. And so this is why I say it doesn't take one to know a thing to know a thing. You know if something ain't for you, you ain't gonna go do it. If it ain't for you, you just not gonna engage. But if it is for you, it takes a work to get to work yourself up to get engaged with that. It takes it takes energy to get yourself engaged with certain things, right? Certain things can just fall in your lap. Like me, it don't take no work for me to. I could turn. Sometimes I be wanting to turn this microphone on. Every 5 minutes, but I'm wrestling with myself every 5 minutes not to turn this microphone on. There's times where I want to get on this microphone, every hour and speak to y'all, but at the same time, I'm not going to do that because that would just make you bored with me. Number one. Number two, I don't know if you can get bored with me or not, but I'm just not going to do that because I don't want one bored with seeing me show up all the doggone time. But at the same time, I understand that consistency really works. Consistency is key. People show up to people that show up. Oh my God. Did I just say something? I said people show up to people that show up. So consistency is key. And that's another part of the skeptic inside of me. Thinking that if I show up every single hour or every day, I have to kill that skeptic inside of me too. You understand? This is why you got to go and do the spiritual work. This is why you must go on the journey. This is why you must isolate. This is why you must get alone. This is why you must get into a secluded place where you can start to where you will begin to hear from yourself and listen to yourself and do for yourself. You understand? And so sometimes the skeptic wants to show up. The skeptic wants to hold on. You understand? The skeptic wants to show up many a times in me to say that, no, don't get on here and turn on that live, man. Don't go live every 5 minutes, or don't go live every hour. That's too much for the people. That's too much. But that's the skeptic. The skeptic says, I'm trying to speak for y'all, the people. I'm trying to speak for y'all, the people. But the people may say, yo, God, we want you on here every hour. Shoot, if we can get you for, however long we want you, we want you. But the skeptic in me says, man, they don't want me that much. They don't want me on here every hour. That would be tiresome. Not for me, because I can talk all night long. For me, I can go all night. I can talk all night. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the difference. See, when you know what your purpose is, you can do it all night long. You don't, it's hard for me to go to bed, be honest with you. It's really hard for me to want to go to sleep. It's hard for me to want to go to sleep because I can stay up all night on research, on writing, on creating like flyers like you see here. Um I can literally stay up all night. If my body didn't require sleep, I don't think I would get any. You understand? Because I am so obsessed with my purpose and my calling. I'm so obsessed with this purpose in my life. And so that's a form of shame when you allow the skeptic to win over your thinking of who you are. That's why I talk about killing that skeptic inside. You got to kill the inner skeptic to a born again manifestor. And a lot of us cannot manifest because there's a block, there's a wall that raises up between the believer and the skeptic. There's a wall that raises up in between, and there's always the wall of doubt because the skeptic don't the skeptic has doubt, and the believer believes with a whole heart. The believer truly believes, but the skeptic cannot get to the believer because the wall is there. But once the skeptic pulls the wall down and starts to just believe a little bit, he starts to climb over the wall to get on the other side. And once he starts to see that, oh, it's paradise over here, all things are possible, and I can manifest, then the wall of the skeptic goes down, and the believer begins to do more and more and more believing, thus manifesting. Thus manifesting. You see, the key to manifesting is believing. This is why you need to go get my doctrine. I wrote called what is it called? Going Beyond Belief. I wrote a doctrine called Going Beyond Belief, and that whole doctrine is about elevating your mind so that you do become a believer in self and all things that you project yourself to be able to do, right? And so you continue and you continue and you continue to believe, and so therefore the doubter never raises up or surfaces. I'll tell you something, I have a skeptic in me. You understand what I'm saying? But I never, you see, the skeptic in me and me personally is maybe I would even say 2 to 4% alive. It's only 2 to 4% alive because if anybody that knows me knows that obeying ain't afraid to go anywhere. Okay? If Obeying got his mind set on doing something, it's gonna get done. You understand? And that's the thing with me. You gotta know not to play with me because you know when Obeying got his mind set on doing something, it's gonna get done. Like it's already done. So it's already done in my spirit, and so therefore I must truly manifest the finished work of that. And so this is why you cannot be with me in my space and be a skeptic. You can't be a skeptic because I will leave you in the dust. I will say sayonara to you, and you will be left behind, and you will see me moving on levels beyond you because you waste time being too patient about things. Me, I'm not patient about things because see, that's a skeptic type of believer. Not saying that patience isn't good and patience isn't a virtue. Patience is a great virtue to have, and patience is good to have. But the thing is, and I will say this again, when you know a thing, you know a thing. It doesn't take for me. Once something gets into my spirit, I did a proverb the other day that talks about always go with your first mind because your first mind is God believing. When you know in your spirit, when you set something in your spirit, go with it. Don't start don't start doubting. Don't start being skeptical about it because that's when it loses that's when it loses the muscle behind it. You start to grow that muscle and courage. That muscle and courage begins to grow, and then the spirit begins to go. And with me, you got to understand that if Obeying say something, it's once something is set in the spirit of me, you're gonna see a lot of work being put into it, but more so you're gonna see it get done. You're gonna see it get done because I am not the type that go with my second mind. I am not the type to go with my second mind. Why? Because that's a skeptic's mind. That's a skeptic's mind. That is a skeptic's mind, your second mind. Now, not saying that, people say, oh, sleep on it. Now, I've done some things where I slept on some things, and I've done some things where I've done some, but you know what? That was my first mind telling me to sleep on it. See, that's the thing though. When I sleep on certain things, when something enters my spirit and I gotta sleep on that, that's my first mind telling me to sleep on it. But when I act immediately, that's my first mind telling me to act as well. That's God believing. That is God believing. That is the God in me saying do that because it's good. It is good to do. It's good. You good to go do that. But if I hear sleep on it, then I know that that's God as well. God is saying, obey, don't just jump into doing that. Take your time. Sleep on that. Wait a minute. Look at that again. Dig into that. Peep inside that. Search and see what it is that's going on. You see? Now, I'm not saying if you see, people walking down the alley and you see a bunch of gangbangers sitting down, and I don't want to say gangbanger, okay, let's just say you're in an unknown area with people that you don't know and you feel like you unsafe, right? And your spirit is telling you don't go there. You understand? And you don't need to sleep on that. You don't need to be like, nah, I don't know. Let me think about that again. No, your spirit leads you to be like, I ain't going down there. And you follow your spirit. But when other things come up, you don't follow it so well. You understand? When something's good happening for you, you don't follow it so well. When something is promising to you, you don't follow that so well. But when you see you are in the area and you like, yo, this is not a safe area. I don't trust this. I gotta go. You'll follow that because you know that that could be for your harm or it could be no good for you. You'll follow that. But when something is good for you, you don't follow that. And so a lot of y'all think like y'all say I'm conscious and this is another thing we need to do when I talk about waging war with self, killing that inner skeptic into a born again manifester. One of the things we got to do is we got to stop thinking that being conscious is being, listen to me, being conscious is, or let me say being woke. That's the word I want to say. Being woke is being conscious. That's we got to stop thinking being woke is being conscious because being woke only means, what did I say? I put up a prophecy yesterday and I talked about the knowledge. You cannot hide the truth. The truth. Once you know the knowledge, once you know the truth, once you have the knowledge, it is now your responsibility to not keep it to yourself. It isn't your responsibility to wake people up with the knowledge, but it's your responsibility not to keep it. The skeptic that's not going to wake up is not going to wake up. But here's what I want to finish my point in saying this: that people who are woke, all that means is that the knowledge has hit them. The knowledge has hit them. Now it is your duty to go and take the knowledge and spread it. And you ain't got to worry about if other people wake up. See, I get on here and I don't worry about if people tune in, or I don't worry about if how many people is in the live with me. I don't worry about that. Half the time when I'm speaking, my eyes is closed, and I'm not saying that to be like make a point here. I'm saying that because I'm in deep thought. I'm in deep thought when I'm speaking. I'm in deep thought, so I'm really not paying attention mostly 75% of the time, I'm not really paying attention to the screen or to the phone, or my eyes are closed and I'm in deep thought. I'm in deep meditation with myself because I see me talking to my higher self. I am not the being that you can physically touch when I'm sitting here talking to you. I am in my higher self, as I am always in, but I am one with God right now as I'm speaking. And so the things that pour out and come through do not come through the being that you get to touch and feel, but this comes through the being that you get to vibrate with. Okay? You vibrate, your soul says, yes, yes, yes. I unite with that. I co-sign with that. I resonate with that. When you say you resonate with something, you're talking about vibrating with that. Now, back to my point. When you are woke, you cannot confuse really being woke for being conscious. Because to be conscious is to be aware, my divine beloved beings. To be conscious is to be aware. And I've seen a lot of people claiming to be conscious, but is not aware of the surroundings, the situations, do not have a feel for the atmosphere. They are not conscious. To be conscious is to be aware, my divine beloved. You understand what I'm saying? So when people say, oh, they woke, I'm woke, I'm woke, I'm woke. When you woke, that just means a lot of people are woke. A lot of people wake up, right? But they don't do the work to stay conscious of the awakening. They don't do the work to stay conscious of the awakening. You get what I'm saying? You see the difference in that. You can be woke, but are you conscious of your awakening? The knowledge has hit you, hit your spirit, hit your mind, hit your thoughts. The knowledge has hit you. But that's all it did was hit you. And when the knowledge sometimes hits you, it's like a wrecking ball that comes into your life and it just knocks you into this stupor, right? Some of y'all just get knocked into a stupor of wokeness and y'all just start spitting gibber and jabber out there. And I'm not saying I'm the leading expert on consciousness because I'm not. I'm the leading expert on obeying Swame. I am the leading consciousness on my higher self. I'm the leading consciousness on teaching and giving and being responsible with the knowledge I have so I can give it out to you. But I am being conscious and responsible not only with the knowledge of sharing it with you, but the responsibility of me continuously growing and reminding myself, because 9 times out of 10, let me tell you something. I go back. I don't listen to my lives most of the time, but I hear myself when I do these lives. I hear myself when I'm doing these lives. I hear myself. And I'm talking to myself when I hear myself. So I'm talking to me. And this, you got to understand, my divine beloved. This right here raises your frequency when you are speaking, even though you know you're speaking to people, but really you're speaking to yourself. And when I speak to myself, that's really God speaking. God is speaking. When I speak to myself, that's God speaking. And I don't need any approval to get on this, hit this live button, get on here and dish out what I'm dishing out. I don't need no one's approval because I get on here and I may be talking to you, but I'm speaking to myself. You understand? And I know that this raises and it reminds my cells in my body. You see, what I'm doing is I'm programming my cells to be the biggest believer and manifester. That way I kill the skeptic. But like I said, there's maybe a 2 to 4% skeptic inside of me that still is alive in me. But that skeptic in me plays as a good barometer in the shield. That skeptic in me plays as a barometer in the shield for myself. It protects me. I need 2%, 4% of a skeptic inside of me so that I can test things through the spirit. So I can test things via the spirit. You understand what I'm saying? Because if I killed the skeptic completely, then I would just be randomly jumping and joining and journeying on with any and everybody without testing the energy of who people are. And sometimes you need a little bit of a skeptic inside of you in order to test, in order to keep it as a barometer, in order to stay visually focused on your spiritual growth. Now, watch this. Watch this. You can kill the skeptic. Watch me. This is good. You can kill the skeptic, my beloved, my divine beloved. You can kill the skeptic in you. Watch me. Watch this. This is about to get good. You can kill the skeptic in you when it comes to your journey. When it comes to your personal spiritual journey, you can kill the skeptic. It's time when it's time. But when dealing with people, you got to have about 2 to 4% of that skeptic alive. You feel what I'm saying? But when it comes to your personal journey, when you are embarking on that journey, when you are elevating yourself to grow, to go and become the God supreme being that you are, divine, this is what I mean by killing the skeptic. You don't want to leave room for your growth to be prohibited by skepticism. Let me say that again. You don't want to leave room in your growth to be prohibited, meaning to be stopped because of skepticism in your own belief and where you're supposed to go, what you were called to do, who you believe you were called to be. When you know who you believe you are called to be, when you know who you believe you are called to be, when you know who you are to believe that you were called to be, you cannot have skepticism in that kind of working. You cannot be a skeptic in the working of that person. That person must go. That person must die. That person must be eliminated. Because if you stop yourself from spiritually growing into the God being that you're supposed to be. See, you got people out here teaching you that they are God and you can follow them and that their teaching is the teaching of the divine God spirit and all that. And the fact of the matter is that it's just not the truth. You understand what I'm saying? We came in here as God beings. You understand what I'm saying? We came in here as supreme beings. You understand? So God, if God is omniscient, all knowing, or if omniscient means I'm God, or if God is omniscient, right? Let me say that again. If omniscient means that I'm God, or God means I'm omniscient, then the language in that cancels itself out. Let me break that down for you. What I mean by that. Then the language cancels out when I know I am God. What do I mean? I don't need a book. I don't need a teacher. I don't need nothing when I'm God, because I am all knowing of who I am. That's why when you are waking up on your journey, you cannot have skepticism going into your journey. You must kill the skeptic so that you can become the born again manifester that you're supposed to be. Because when you kill the skeptic, then you allow God to become manifested. Ooh, yes, you understand what I'm saying? Ooh, that was so good. When you kill the skeptic, God becomes manifested. Yes. Then you know that you know, and you don't need to know a thing to know a thing. As I posted in my proverb today, you don't need to know a thing to know a thing. You don't need to know a thing to know a thing. When you know a thing, you know a thing. When you are God, you omniscient. When you omniscient, you God. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? When you omniscient, you God, you all knowing. Why do I need a book to tell me that? Why do I need a school to teach me that? Why do I need a teacher to help me learn that? Why do I need a religion to give me that? Why do I need anything outside of myself to give me the knowledge of myself? Come on, man. You understand what I'm saying? Why do I need anything outside of myself to teach me the knowledge of myself when I came in supreme? I don't need the knowledge. I don't need nothing outside of me. I'm God. What are you talking about? You understand? I'm God. I'm all knowing, omniscient of me, of myself. This is why people have a problem with me proclaiming that I am God, because I'm not saying I'm your God. I ain't saying I'm her God or I'm their God. I'm saying I'm God. Okay? And you can be God in your own right as well, because once you know a thing, and the language is canceled out. I don't need no teaching. I don't need no wording to tell me this. All I need is to know who I am within the spirit of who I am. And who I am is obeying Suwame, the most powerful communicator that came on this earth. You understand? That's who I am. And therefore, I don't need no outside beings and people and teachers and all that. Now, granted, are teachers a bad thing? Are mentors a bad thing? Are anybody that can help you, aid you? No, they're not a bad thing. They're not a bad thing when you're waking up. That's why I said there's a difference between being woke and being conscious. You can't be you cannot when you woke, all you saying is that your eyes or your inner eye, your inner spirit has woken up to the knowledge, right? Your eyes are awakened now. You can see, right? The blinders is off, and so you awaken to the knowledge. But to be conscious is to be aware of self, to be aware of the knowledge of self, to be aware of the environment that you're in, to be aware of the things that you eat, to be aware of the people you're around, to be aware of the surroundings going around you, to be aware of the things you wear, and be aware of the things you speak, and be aware of the things you think, and be aware, to totally be aware, to be able to understand what you wear, what you think, what you eat, what you say. It's even beyond that. It goes even beyond all of that. You understand? To be totally conscious. And I'm not saying I have the recipe in the book on being conscious, but I do know this. To be conscious, it means to be aware. It's to be aware. That means you understand, like when somebody's in a coma and they are unconscious, what does that mean? That they are unaware of what's going on. They're unaware of their surroundings. They're unaware of the environment. They're unaware. When somebody gets knocked out unconscious, they are unaware. When it means to be conscious, it means to be aware. Now you are aware, right? And so you have to be aware of everything, and you mostly have to be aware of yourself. You have to be aware of who you are. You have to be aware what the journey. You got to go on that journey, man. Straight up, like you have to take that spiritual quest. You have to take that quest. You have to take that spiritual. You have to find your way home. You have to find your way home, and you have to get back to yourself. You have to get back to the pure knowledge of who you are. And so that the skeptic in you, when it comes to you, dies. I say kill the inner skeptic, but what am I talking about? The inner skeptic. I'm not talking about the skeptic that you need for outer situations. I'm talking about the inner skeptic. Kill the inner skeptic to be a born again manifester. You understand what I'm saying? You got to kill the inner skeptic, the one that judges yourself, the one that judges the possibilities, the one that limits you, the one that limits your opportunities, the one that prohibits you from going. See, that's a skeptic inside of you that's saying it can't happen. It's not possible. It's not for you. That's a skeptic inside staying alive for no good apparent reason in you on your journey. And so when you know, like, yo, I got to pick up and leave, I got to go, then you got to do that. That's what you got to do. You understand? When you got to isolate, then that's what you got to do. You understand? Since I've been isolated, I've been putting that work out. You feel me? I've been putting work out nonstop. You did? And sometimes when you're out there in the world, like a bear, let's think of it like a bear. A bear is packing on all this weight. A bear is packing on all the weight, putting on all this weight, right? All this weight. For what? For what reason? For the hibernation season. So that when it goes to sleep in the cave, it got all that fat to burn off. See, sometimes we are like those bears. We go out there and we put on all this spiritual weight, all this emotional weight, all this physical weight, all this weight from people around us, the toxic thinking from environments around us, and this toxic the things that we intake in our bodies, all the things that we intake in our bodies, in our minds, in our mental spaces, in our heart spaces, in our spiritual spaces. These toxicities have to be, this becomes weight. This is what happens when people get depressed. You understand? This is why people get depressed, because of the surrounding situation. They keep paying attention to everything around them and looking at, and what happens? The skeptic is really big, 95, 100% by then. When somebody's dealing with depression, that's because they are the biggest skeptic. They are the biggest skeptic when people are dealing with depression, because they believe that they cannot pull themselves out of it. And I was watching a documentary on Netflix today, and it's a documentary. You got to look it up. It's called The Last Shaman on Earth. And it was this dude who went to the Amazons and Central America and met with a shaman. and he was severely depressed. He was severely depressed, and he was dealing with depression on a very high level. He wanted to kill himself many times, and he went to go do the little drug ayahuasca, right? But he kept saying that he said he wasn't looking for God, he wasn't looking for spirit, he wasn't looking for anything. He said he was just looking to be undepressed. And he kept thinking like he tried everything. He tried love, he tried women, he tried men, he tried it all. He didn't say he tried men. I just threw that out there. But he's saying he tried everything, right? He tried it all and said that he felt nothing. He could not pull himself out of depression. And so he went to meet a shaman in Central America to the Amazons to find this man who was going to give him ayahuasca and help him get out of this depression. And the thing is, he took the ayahuasca and found himself free and relaxed and finding a lot of things melting away and realizing that some of the things that he thought was real wasn't really real. And so he claims that ayahuasca cured him of his depression. I'm not saying that ayahuasca cures and doesn't cure. I'm not saying that. I know plants are I know nature is a very sacred thing, and its medicinals are great for reasons and purposes of healing us. You understand? And I'm not saying you cannot take ayahuasca. I'm not against ayahuasca. Actually, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't necessarily go and try it. I don't know if I would survive it. But that's not what I'm trying to here to make my point about. I'm making my point about how this dude went into severe depression and found ayahuasca to be his cure. But before the ayahuasca, I wanted to tell you something. He was depressed because he was trying to live up to the things of society. It was society. He said that society has weighed a toll on him. The things that you got to live up to, the things you got to live up to. That's why you got to go and listen to my 5-minute meditation audio I loaded up today that I talked about the lies that they tell you, what your parents should have told you. You understand what I'm saying? You got to go and listen to that 5-minute meditation audio I loaded up today about what your parents should have told you about, receiving, giving, the secret to life, right? Just go listen to it and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But this depressed guy thought that the woes and the ways, he thought that the ways of society was the way out, but really the woes of society crushed his spirit, and he could no longer deal with what was going on from society. So he took to go check, do some ayahuasca, right? My point in all that is, what I'm trying to point out is this, that outside things, people, places, and things can become your state of depression. Now, is it their fault that you are depressed? Absolutely not. It's your fault that you are depressed. Why is that? And I know some people on here deal with depression. They say, why would you say that? It's your fault that you are depressed. And why is that? Huh? Why is that? It's a rhetorical question I have the answer to. You understand? It's your fault because you claim to be conscious. Well, if you was conscious enough, you would know that you were in toxic environments and you would have gotten yourself out of it. That's why I can say that I never dealt with depression. I never deal with depression. I don't have to deal with depression. I never dealt with depression. And depression never, ever will be a part of my reality. It would never be a part of my reality because I am conscious enough and aware enough of my environment. I'm aware enough of my environment. You ever watch lions hunt? You ever watch lions hunt or cheetahs hunt for gazelles and cheetahs hunt for deer and impalas and stuff like that? You ever watch that? You ever watch how the gazelle or the deer is always aware of its surrounding, always aware of its environment? Granted that they get caught most of the time, some of the time, but do you know a cheetah is only 1 out of 10 times, a lion is only 1 out of 10 times successful when they hunt? 1 out of every 10 hunts they're successful. Why is that? Well, the one time that damn animal was slipping up, that's why. He wasn't aware of his environment. But the other 9 times, the animals are more aware of their environment. And so the gazelle or the impala or the deer, whatever it's hunting, right? These animals are highly sensitively aware of their environment. They are highly aware of their environment, highly aware of their environment. So when you watch a cheetah hunt or a lion hunt and you see the gazelles, they start trotting off and running away earlier before the lion even sets its stance, gets in its stance to pounce on the gazelle. Before the lion begins to pounce on the gazelle, you can see the gazelle trotting off. Boom. Not because it sees the lion, because the lion is still ducked off. Not because it sees the lion, but because the gazelle is aware of the environment. It senses changes in the air, literally. The hairs on the gazelle. This is why you have hairs on your body as well, too. So that you can sense change in the atmosphere. You understand? That's why women, when you shave, you understand. That's why it's not natural. It's not. You're not supposed to. I know women are like, no, screw that. The hell with that. I'm gonna shave. But truth be told, you're not really supposed to be shaving yourself. Your hairs are indicators of environmental changes. You understand what I'm saying? Your hairs are indicators of atmospheric changes. You understand? You can sense wind movement in your hairs. You can sense wind patterns in your hairs. That's why you're not supposed to truly shave yourself. When you shave your legs and shave your hairs on your arms and stuff like that, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to be doing that. That's another topic for another day, but I have to go on that. I have to say that so that you can understand where I'm trying to go with the whole point of this and why it's important for you to understand. You when you say you conscious. I'm conscious, but you understand. But you cannot sense a damn thing that's going on around you. You understand? And so I'm like that gazelle. You know, I'm like that gazelle. I'm the gazelle. Even though I'm a lion, I'm a gazelle as well. That's why they call Jesus the lion and the lamb. You understand what I'm saying? I am the lion and the goddamn the gazelle. You understand what I'm saying? Why would I say that? Because number one, I am powerful, stealthy like the lion, regal like the lion, but I'm also highly sensitive and aware like the gazelle. You understand? Both have capabilities to adapt to its environment. You understand? And so the gazelle is more successful than the lion. The gazelle is more successful at getting away from the lion than the lion is catching the gazelle. You understand? And so when I say that 1% chance that the lion do catches the gazelle, 1 out of every 10 hunts, that one time that the lion do catches the gazelle, that's what I talk about, the 2 to 4% inner skeptic that you need for the world. That's that 2 to 4% inner skeptic that you need for the world. But when it comes to yourself, that inner skeptic, you got to get rid of. You got to let him go. You understand? You understand? But when it comes to I'm sorry, I said that backwards. My bad. Um My bad. When I said that backwards, I'm noticing that I said that backwards. That's the 1 to 2%. 2%. That's the two to 4%. Skeptic that you need. To be like, let me sleep on it. I'm talking. That's what I meant to say. But when you the gazelle, you need to be highly sensitive and aware of your environment around you. Do you need to be skeptic of people, everybody, everywhere, in every environment you are in? No, but you do need to be aware. You don't need to be skeptical of people, but you need to be aware of people. There's people I've done deals with, and I didn't have to, and I wasn't skeptical of a person, and it was a righteous deal. So that's what I mean. You don't need to be skeptical of everybody that you deal with. You don't need to be skeptical of everybody, but do you need to be skeptical of people? Not necessarily. You just need to be aware of your environment. You understand? You need to sense and you need to be aware. You need to know if it's a righteous deal going down or not. You understand? I've done deals with people on first meet basis, off a first meeting the person basis, and no, not knowing the person, not knowing what the product they selling to me, and it was a righteous deal. And when I was traveling going through China airport, I was in Shanghai, and I was in Shanghai airport, and when I was in Shanghai airport, these Chinese men walked up on me. It was a bunch of Chinese men all over the airport, and they are allowed to do this. And Shanghai is a nice airport too. Tell you that too. Another Shanghai is a very nice airport. And when I was in Shanghai airport one time, traveling around the world, across on the other side of the world, the a bunch of Chinese men kept approaching me, and they were approaching me with these iPhones, trying to sell me iPhones. And listen to me, this was the funniest stuff I've ever seen. I've seen it in my life, ever seen in my life. I seen these Chinese men all over the airport with these iPhones, selling these brand new out the box iPhones, iPhone 10s, or maybe it was a Samsung. I think, yeah, actually, it wasn't an iPhone. It was a Samsung. It was a Note. It was like the Note 8 or 7. It was Note 8 or 7 around the time. It was like a Samsung Note. They were selling the Samsung phones. Beautiful, beautiful, brand new out the box looking phones. Beautiful, brand new out the box looking phones. And let me tell you what I did. I was desperately trying to buy one. I was like going to the ATM machine, but I couldn't switch the money over from American to yen out of the ATM machine. They wouldn't convert my American dollars wouldn't convert to the yen over there, the Chinese yen. So I was like, man, I really want to buy these phones. And they kept pressuring me and pressuring me and pressuring me. Come on, man. You can buy. I got it right now. This deal is not going to stay. You can buy right now. I'm like, yeah. Listen, I'm trying to get the money out. Would you hold your fucking horses? I'm trying to get the money out, right? But something in me wouldn't allow me to go the extra length. Something in me wouldn't allow me to go the extra step to go and get that money, because I think there was an exchange inside the airport. I was like, something in me wouldn't allow me to go the extra step. I was happy that the goddamn ATM machine wasn't exchanging my currency, man. I was kind of happy for that, because that skeptic in me was like, yeah, it looks good and it was a brand new phone. I really want that. But something in me wouldn't allow me to go the extra step to get that phone. But I saw white people all over the airport buying these phones, giving up $600 cash money. 600 cash. It was like, it wasn't US money. They were giving up 600. I remember a dude was telling me it was like 600 yen, but that's really like 150 US. So it was like 600 yen, 150 US, right? And I seen white dudes just like getting their hair slapped all over the airport. I was like, man, these Chinese people slapping y'all. I saw white Americans getting their hair slapped, man. I was like, damn. Man, I see these white people, man. These Chinese men was all over the airport selling these Samsung notes. I was like, damn, man, look at all the money going into these people's hands, man. Look how what's the word for it? Like ambitious, like they were on an attack. These Chinese men were on an attack in your face with these phones. And something told me, don't go the extra step to get that man that money. And here's why I was told that. Because a American dude came up to me and he said, man, don't buy that phone. I was like, why? He said, because they switched the chip out inside the phone, and by the time you get back to the America, the phone won't even work. It won't even work for you. It won't be, they switched the chip. He said something about how they switched the chip out in the phone. And the phone is not the same once you get into this country. But the phone basically was only built for China. You can only keep the phone in China. And so a lot of white people were like looking all happy getting on a plane with these brand new boxes of phones, and they were getting their heads slapped, and they were going back to America, and they were like, look at this new phone I got, man. Yeah, look at this, pretty cool, man. All these features and stuff, man. I'm like, man. And then one dude came up to me and was like, man, don't buy that phone. He said, because they switched the chip out in that phone. And that phone really won't work once you get in America. I'm like, man, these people done gave up $150 US. They ain't going to be able to use them phones. But see, something in me, that inner skeptic, that little 2%, was like, yeah, I needed that. But see, I was ready like them them white people ready to go and do what they was doing. I could have went the extra step. They was like, yeah, 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 go over here and you can exchange money over here. And I was like, no, man, I'm right at the ATM. Can't you see me trying to get the money? I'm at the ATM. He was like, no, you go over here, and you can get exchange. I was like, no, man, just chill your ass out. Let me get out the ATM. But the ATM wouldn't exchange it for me. I was happy. I was a little bit like sad and happy. I was like, damn, I really want the phone. It looked good. It looked legit. But I was like, no, man, you know what? I'm not gonna go the extra step. There's a reason why that's happening. And so that's the awareness I'm talking about. You see, I was aware of my situation. I was aware that what was happening financially to me in the airport was for me to take a second look at. And that's a situation where you got to be like, you got to use that skeptic inside you, that little 2%, 4% that's alive inside you. You got to use it for those situations where if that money would have came out, I was going to be giving them that money. But at the same time, the money didn't come out. And I was thinking like, you know what? That's a good thing. And so I looked like, I was able to get a second glance and see that happened to me. It didn't happen to the white folks. They was buying up like it was a flea market over there. They were buying up phones, and it didn't happen to me. I didn't get to buy the phone, and I believe that was my inner self, my higher self protecting me. My higher self was protecting me from lower vibrational beings that were out to get me, out to scam me, out to cheat me. And my higher self, because I listened, protected me. And that's why you got to have some sort of skepticism alive only for the sake of a situation like that. But when it comes to your own personal growth and development, your spiritual walk, your journey, your quest, you got to kill the skeptic. That's why I say kill the inner skeptic to a born again manifester. You got to kill the inner skeptic. When it comes to you, you got to kill the inner skeptic. When it comes to other people, turn it on a little bit because you want to be able to have that judgment wall there in order to say, let me take a second look at this to be sure that this is. I was able to get a second look because my spirit, my higher self, was protecting me. Oh, especially because I was on my journey, and when that happened, I was on my spiritual. I was on my journey. I was on my walk. I was on my journey at that time it was happening, and so you couldn't really get over on me because I was like, I was shoot, I was illuminated. I was illuminated. You feel me? I was in my higher self, and I am still there in my higher self. And this is why I say, you understand, that when you are omniscient, you are God, and when you're God, you're omniscient. You don't need anything, a leader, a teacher, a book, a doctrine to tell you. Now, I wrote doctrines. I wrote some doctrines, but I tell you this, right? I always say this, and I'm gonna end it right here. Got to get out of here. Um, when I talk about the doctrines, right? The doctrines. Now, I have a philosophy on life for myself, and I have doctrines that I wrote that lives out my philosophy, that helps me continue to speak and preach and project my philosophy that I believe in, my philosophy of life that I believe in, right? Is being one with nature, one with my environment, one with my self, my higher self, and being free. And so because I believe in myself in those ways, I wrote doctrines. You call them books. I call them doctrines. Now I call them doctrines. And I can still call them books too, but I call them doctrines because these are words of belief. These are words of power. And these are doctrines because they will stand the test of time. See, these what I wrote ain't your average books. That's why I took the name books and I call them doctrines. These ain't your average books. I wrote doctrines because my stuff will stand the test of time. Truthfully, it will. It will stand and go and expand beyond the test of time. You see, but I am not saying that my doctrine is the one doctrine that you should pick up and you should follow for the rest of your life. I ain't say that. I said I'm saying my doctrine is the doctrine you should read. You don't have to follow, but you should read my doctrines. And so that the reprogramming can begin to take place in you. Because all I want for you, divine beloved, all I want for you, this is my whole premise of who I am, the whole premise of my purpose, the whole premise of my journey, the whole premise of my conquest. The one thing I want to do for you, the one thing I want for you, the one thing I am purpose here to do is to beset you on your journey. That's it. I'm not here to get you to say, look at me, follow me, I'm your leader. I am here to say, read this and let it reprogram your subconscious. Let it reprogram your conscious mind. Read this. And then after you're done reading this, get on your journey. Because the words in my doctrines are going to formulate and reprogram listen to me, the language. It's going to reprogram the language and how you believe. It's going to reprogram the language. And this is what you want, a reprogramming. I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it again. I'm not saying that my doctrines are the one doctrine that you need forever in your life and you can just read mine and you be good. I already told you and I'm going to say it here. My doctrines and my purpose here in this realm. Why I'm put here is to put you on your path. It's to put you on your journey. Because once you get on your journey and you start to do the work and you start to do the work like I did the work, once you get on that journey, you're going to truly know, you're going to know the truth. You're going to know the truth. You're going to truly know, you're going to really know and feel what success feels like. You're going to know what it feels to be, you're going to know what it feels like to be successful. To be successful is to conquer yourself. To be successful is to conquer yourself. You want to be able to conquer yourself. I have conquered myself. That's why I say I'm God. Because I've conquered myself. I've come into supreme divine knowledge of myself. I know all there is about me. I know all there is to me. I know all there is that is in me. I know all there is I am capable of putting out. And I know all there is I'm capable of doing. I know all about me. I know me. One thing I know is I know me. All right. And what I want to do for you is to get you to learn more about you. Now, am I the one to tell you more about you? No, I am not here to tell you more about you. I'm here so that these words can inspire and encourage and motivate you to start that quest, to start that journey. And if you can't stand listening to my lives for an hour, maybe, when I come and do these lives, if you can't stand and sit still, then go get the doctrine and you can pace yourself. That's why I wrote the doctrines. Maybe you can't sit still for an hour and listen all day. Then go get the doctrines and take your time reading through those. You understand? Okay, you can do that because they're gonna stand the test of time. My words are here forever. My words that I put out there are here forever. 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 You dig what I'm saying? Forever. The legacy of Marcus has been written and the journey of obeying has begun. That happened 2017, Divine. You understand what I'm saying? The legacy of Marcus has been written. I don't need to continue to elevate that being. That being has went on. That being has passed on. That being has passed on. Obeying is alive and obeying is here to deliver everything that you need to hear without fault, without scare, being afraid, and without holding back what you need for your greatest walk in this journey. I love you. I love me. I love us. Share this download, please, and do me a favor. I'll say it again as I said in the beginning. You can also follow me on YouTube. I'll be posting these lives on my YouTube channel, Nation of God. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Nation of God, because that is a nation of gods. There, we are a nation. We are a nation of God. You understand? And go to YouTube and hit that subscribe button, and also, look at some of the new videos I'm posting. I'm gonna be posting more and more and more and more and more and more now. Be consistent with posting, sharing, coming on live. Also, again, the way you can support me, I've already said this. I am not one to beg, borrow, or steal. What's meant for me is meant for me. What's meant for me is really meant for you. So I'm not one to beg, borrow, steal. What I will say is, if you desire to, if you desire to inspire me to continue to do these more, then you can give at the Cash App at um, $ Lord Obeng, LORDOBENG. You can donate there. That's just so that you can continue to get these inspirational messages out. Um, because it takes work and energy for me to give you this time and mind. You understand? And another thing is, if you want to support me, the way I love your support is when you go on Amazon. I'm gonna get a website again sometime soon. But I'd rather you just go on Amazon right now, and order you all of my doctrines. You can use my old Earth name. You can use my old Earth name, and my rebirth name is Obeng, but you can use my old Earth name, Marcus A. Clark, to find my doctrines on Amazon. I am writing a new, Obeng is writing a new book, so, or doctrine, that's coming out soon. But again, you can support me that way. Just go to Amazon and get the doctrines for yourself. Study, learn, grow, go, and become your higher self. I love you. I love me. I love us. I am Obeng, Lord Obeng, and I say I am.